All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Long Live Geek Live. Something I'm going to be trying to do a little bit more often is live stuff. Something that I really wanted to do from the beginning when I started this channel. The scripted stuff. I mean, I enjoy it, but this is really what I'd rather be doing, and I will be eventually once I get Skype figured out or something like that with this. I'll be trying to bring on guests and then just talking Star Wars. Oh shoot, I gotta stop doing that stuff there. But my name is James. I'm the host of the show. But today, what I want to be discussing is that there's a couple things going on this week. One is kind of a rumor, and that's a Cassian Andor series possibly being delayed for rewrites. And honestly, I don't. I think it's just a rumor, but I think it's still something to talk about because I think that there's a lot of changes going on within Star Wars, and I think they're good, and I'm excited about it. So I hope that I hope it's legit, to be honest with you. And if it's not, then it's just still something we should talk about. And then also we got the Clone Wars season 7 starting this Friday, and I'm personally really excited about it. I don't try to hide it at all with this channel, but the Clone Wars is probably my favorite thing Star Wars. Love the original trilogy. Love the prequels a little bit less. I actually like the sequel trilogy, though I admit that it's flawed, extremely flawed, and something that they need to hopefully learn from. If they haven't learned anything from the mistakes they made and the reaction that fans had towards the sequel series, then Star Wars truly is maybe doomed for the foreseeable future. But I think they've learned. I think Kathleen Kennedy's knows that she's in the hot seat right now and needs to make changes. But the Clone Wars, it's just the best storytelling in Star Wars, and it's something that if they could figure out how to capture that live action, which they kind of did a little bit in The Mandalorian, but not quite there. Star Wars has a bright, bright future. So real quick, I just want to make sure that I got everything set up properly on this. I think we do. I guess I'll find out when I rewatch it. But anyway, so the Cassian Andor rumors that it's being rewritten, and the source on that, I don't even think it's important, to be honest with you, because I don't think it's legit. It's a source that apparently hasn't really broken anything else, so we'll see. But here's the thing is that they had these scripts and they had these ideas of what they wanted to do with live action, and the first one was The Mandalorian. Now, I have no doubt that they had the Obi-Wan script pretty much already done before The Mandalorian started coming out. The Cassian Andor one, I'm sure that they already had written. And then The Mandalorian came out, and everybody loved it. And The Rise of Skywalker came out, and not everybody loved it. And I think this made Bob Iger go to Kathleen Kennedy and basically say, we need to figure this out. Like, we need more of The Mandalorian. We need people to love this stuff. The future of Star Wars is at stake. And so, honestly, I think that Bob Iger told Kathleen Kennedy, you need to bring in some more sets of eyes. We need to have somebody else look at this and make sure that these scripts and the production on the Obi-Wan series and the Cassian Andor and everything else we have going on is legitimately awesome. So, I wouldn't be surprised if she brought in, Dave Filoni and maybe even Jon Favreau and maybe even some of the other people in Disney, Kevin Feige. Shoot, who knows who else maybe they came in and talked to, and they just realized that they needed to rewrite these scripts and just make sure they're top notch. And if that's the case, man, I'm excited about this. I think that's what we want out of Star Wars is for really good storytelling, character development. That's one thing that the sequel series didn't really have is just the development of the characters. We didn't spend enough time with supposedly main characters like Finn and Poe. And then Rey, rightfully so. She didn't have the greatest character arc. I mean, I thought Daisy Ridley did a fantastic job in her acting, but I don't think she was really necessarily a Mary Sue, but you know, the fact that she was Palpatine's granddaughter, and that's the reason why she was so powerful. Even if that's the case, that's not good storytelling. You want to see her struggle. You want to see her overcome something, and that really wasn't done well. Whereas in the Clone Wars, especially with the character of Ahsoka Tano, we saw her go from something that where she was annoying and made a lot of mistakes to growing into a more mature character and somebody that a lot of Star Wars fans love. Speaking of which, we got this picture right here, which is, you know, somebody did that was just fantastic, which was Ahsoka kind of reaching to Baby Yoda, kind of in the same way that Plo Koon did to her when she was a youngling, about to join the Jedi Order. That's something I'd love to see in the future with The Mandalorian Season 2 or Season 3 or whatever. I mean, eventually Baby Yoda is going to be dropped off to some Jedi or some light side Force user. Ahsoka makes as much sense as anybody else. And no, I do not in any way think that the Mandalorian was tasked with finding Yoda's species and taking him there. I do not think that in the slightest. There was a line, I think, by Cara Dune in the last or second to last episode where they were discussing how Mandalorians was not a race, it was a code. So I would think that the Mandalorians would not look at race when they're saying take Baby Yoda back to his people. I think they'd be looking at the code, the group that he belonged to, which is the Space Wizards or Jedi. So not to get too far off topic, yes, the Cassian Andor thing, I don't know that source got it right, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did do rewrites on the Cassian Andor series, and just make sure that it's going to be something that's going to be a big hit. So the next thing I want to talk about is just exactly what we're getting this Friday. Originally, when they said that they were going to basically have, or it looked like they were going to have 3 arcs in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, which is going to be 12 episodes, I really thought that it was probably going to start with Ahsoka right after she left the Jedi Order and her being in the underworld of Coruscant, and then her having to flee there, and then go into the Bad Batch, and then go into the Siege of Mandalore. It appears that it's going to be starting with the Bad Batch, and then the last 8 or 9 episodes will all be Ahsoka, and then going into her having to deal with Maul. So this Friday we're getting an episode of the Bad Batch arc, and now I'm excited. At first I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to wait another 3 to 4 weeks, a month maybe, before we get more Ahsoka, and I'm over that disappointment. The Bad Batch is, if you don't already know, it's a arc that they already had semi-done before the Clone Wars was canceled back in 2014, I believe. And there you can actually find the unfinished animation with voice acting. It's basically this group of clones called Troop 99, named after, if you've never seen the Clone Wars episode where there's the janitor guy that's kind of hunched over and is a deformed clone who actually turns out to be heroic. This Bad Batch is named after him. And part of the reason why is because they are mutated also. The difference is their mutations are desired. They make them stronger, smarter, they all have something that makes them special. And they also aren't as obedient as the other clones. So I expect some conflict between them and Rex and Cody, I believe, is going to be within these. They're probably not going to get along well because they're going to have different ways of doing things. But I expect that in the end, they're all going to work together to achieve their mission. And they're probably going to leave with a lot of respect for each other. So, yes, let's bring this on. Let's bring on Season 7. Let's get through the Bad Batch arc. Let's get on to the Ahsoka stuff. And eventually, let's get to animated version of Order 66 and see if, see how gut wrenching it's going to be when the clones turn on Ahsoka and she has to, deal with Rex and whether or not Rex already has his inhibitor chip removed or if she has to help him remove it. And, okay, so what I think is going to happen is I think that Order 66 is going to happen and Rex is going to not necessarily be able to fight the Order and is basically going to tell Ahsoka, kill me, basically. I can't control this. Kill me. And he's going to already know about the chips, kind of. I don't know. He probably didn't really believe it, but he talked to Fives. Fives told him about it. And so he's going to know what's happening to him, but not be able to control it. And Ahsoka, instead of killing him, is going to knock him out or incapacitate him in some way. And then she's going to remove the chip for him or help him remove the chip. And I think it's going to be an amazing scene. So yes, let's bring on Season 7 of Clone Wars. Are you excited for Season 7 of Clone Wars? Let me know in the comments below. So last thing is I want to talk about my channel overall. I have two channels. I've got this one and I've got one that's kind of more of a personal channel. And this whole YouTube experience for me has been a way for me to battle what I've come to call my ambition addiction, which is something that's plagued me for many, many years. This desire to achieve things at all costs, and in some ways, it's taken me to the dark side, a little bit maybe like Anakin, all-encompassing passion for one thing that has kind of made some of the other things in my life less enjoyable. So within this YouTube channel, a lot of it was setting it up, figuring out what I enjoy doing, and then trying to become successful at it without it ruling my life. And so one thing that I realized is that I like conversational style stuff. And for me to eventually get there is going to require me to get better at this, just talking without a script in front of me, without getting too far off topic, and not as many ums like that, which is something I really have to work on. Don't enjoy the scripted stuff. I almost did the thing. I caught myself. I will still do those occasionally if there's something that I really want to tackle. But it's not going to be something I'm going to do a lot of. I also have something called a job that I have to do. And financially, I'm not in a position where I can put as much time into this as I want. Over the past couple months, I've tried to put too much time into it, and I've had some health issues because of this. I'm not taking care of myself as much as I want to. So my goal right now is I'm going to focus on live streaming. I'm going to focus on things that are unscripted when I want to talk about them. I'm going to focus on trying to reach out there and find other people that want to talk Star Wars and get the software necessary to be able to do those things. And I'm going to focus on getting myself in a financial state so that if at any point I actually become great at this or good enough to where you out there watching me live, that I can be in a position to be able to do this more and invest in this channel. So that's kind of, where I'm at with my YouTube channels. And that's the other thing too, is this channel is going to be primarily Star Wars. That's what I like the most. Once the Marvel stuff happens or starts happening on Disney Plus, I may start doing some Marvel stuff too. But right now I'm not gonna. That's one of my other problems, is trying to promise things that eventually I just don't want to do. So I'm not gonna promise that. So, yeah. Please, if you have any comments or things that you want to talk about in the future with Star Wars, leave those in the comments next time I'm live streaming, and I'll talk about those things. Like this video, like my other videos if you think that they're good. Subscribe, that way you know when the new videos are coming out. Hit the notification bell so the next time I go live that you know about it. And may the Force be with you.